Joining me now to give his insights is NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber. Jesse, good morning to you. Just for starters, were you surprised by this ruling from Judge Chutkan yesterday? I mean, she and Trump didn't have the friendliest back and forth around the January 6th case. Were you shocked or no?
Well, from a legal point of view, no, she made the right decision. I mean, look, for a TRO, a temporary restraining order, she said that these attorney generals, it wasn't clear what irreparable harm that would be suffered here, and they didn't have the proper standing to go forward. What I did find interesting was she didn't just give a blanket slate, a blanket thumbs up to DOGE. She basically said, I understand that there are issues here with having unchecked authority for a person who was not appointed, was not overseeing an entity that was not approved by Congress, and even in a footnote to her filing suggested that there might be some inaccuracies regarding how much authority DOGE has over personnel. So this wasn't just a rubber stamp saying that DOGE can do whatever they want. She basically said that the people who brought this TRO, this temporary restraining order, on a procedural level, on a technical level, couldn't move forward. But this is not an endorsement of DOGE per se.
So what does all this mean, this win mean for DOGE's slashing efforts moving forward? And, you know, to her point, what legal issues do you see surrounding Musk's unelected relationship with the government and the White House right now, Jesse?
Look, his argument would be, even though I'm unelected, I'm basically in an advisory capacity. I'm not the one who's actually firing people. I'm not the one who's actually slashing the budget. I'm making recommendations. And the problem is, remember, the order of the chain of command is the president, through executive orders, is directing agencies to take certain action. Now, while executive orders have the power of law, they can't conflict with the Constitution, and they can't authorize an agency to do something that they don't have the authority to do. So those legal challenges are still being made and still being challenged, and it's not, it becomes a battle between how much authority does the president, overseeing the executive branch, to manage and direct the different agencies to do what he wants, versus, you know, there's the Constitution. And the idea is if you are directing certain agencies not to spend certain funds or to cut certain personnel, are you encroaching upon the authority of Congress? And that's going to be an ongoing battle as this moves forward. And clearly, as DOGE gets more access to materials and has the ability to look at more things, that is certainly going to be challenged in the courts.
Yeah, an interesting fight to follow. Hey, speaking of judges, the other big headline right now that I wanted to take your temperature on is that the Trump administration just fired 20 federal immigration judges without much of an explanation. It touches on two of his top priorities, of course, shrinking the size of the federal government and mass deportations, but seemingly in contradictory ways, right? I mean, are you making sense of this one?
So look, this is a bit concerning, because if you think about it, each immigration judge hears, what, over 500 to 700 cases per year. There's a backlog of 3 to 3.5 million cases. Just on a given case, it could take years for it to be adjudicated. So now, with 20 judges being removed, that is going to delay a lot of those cases. Now, the question was, these are Article 2 judges, right? So they are under the purview of the Department of Justice. They're under the purview of the Attorney General. She can fire them at will. The question becomes, are they going to be replaced, and who are they going to be replaced by? Is this a case where you remove all these judges just to basically cut some of the fat from the Department of Justice, or is this because you believe that these were judges who were allowing too many undocumented migrants to stay into the country? Are they going to be replaced with people that are more in line with Donald Trump's agenda? And then you also have to wonder as well, there is a procedure we have in place. It's called expedited removal, where you can remove undocumented migrants without a hearing, without a judge. And that is in very limited circumstances that we've seen under the Biden administration. Basically, if you've been within 100 miles of the border, you've been there for 2 weeks. Now it seems that there's been an expanded process to apply that across the United States to undocumented migrants who haven't been here continuously for 2 years. So is the goal now, maybe we don't need as many judges because we're actually going to try to remove people technically without due process because they haven't been here continuously? It becomes a very, very interesting question. By the way, Congress in the past has tried to appropriate more money to get more judges, to make sure these cases go forward. So it is a little bit of a contradiction, and hopefully we get a little bit more clarity about why this was done, although we shall see.
Yeah, this one caught my attention for sure, so I wanted to ask you about it. I got to end it there. NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber, thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.